What do you make of Nvidia earnings? I know you're not a chip analyst, but what do you make of what it says about market sentiment right now? Nvidia only missing on one segment when it came to data center revenue. The rest of the report, very strong. Do you think it was an overreaction? How do you see the markets reacting today?
Nvidia is one of the best companies that's out there right now. I mean, you look at their earnings, you look at their revenue growth, you look at what's going on over there. It's an A++ company. So, the market's a little bit dull right now. It's just sort of flat. I think a lot of players sort of got the summer doldrums right now, but they'll come back and they'll start playing pretty hard. The market's in a solid uptrend. And I think this is a great buying opportunity. I'd be buying Nvidia. I'd be adding to our positions, which we already have.
So just in all fairness, Vance, and I was hitting this with Dan Ives earlier, you're not really buying the dip right here. I mean, it only pulled back about 2%. It was up over 30% going into earnings. So it still, had a big run up this year. It trades at about 35 times forward earnings. Is this stock frothy? Is the market frothy? Is that what this pullback's really about, that everything was priced to perfection and it just wasn't perfect?
I don't think so. I think these little stocks that are having these 1, 2, 3 percentage point pullbacks, I think they're buying opportunities to add to really, really good positions. Our short, intermediate, and long-term view on the market is this market's going much, much higher, Frank. I think that 5 to 6 years from now, I think you can see the S&P double. So when you look at things like Nvidia, any opportunity you can get to buy on a 2 or 3, 4, 5% pullback, add to your position, looking at a year, 2 years, 3 years out, I think you're going to be very, very satisfied.
All right, what about some of the second derivative plays, data centers, other chips, energy players? Any questions about any of those?
No, I think a lot of the market's going to go higher. You were talking earlier with one of your producers about one of our top picks. Interactive Brokers, I think, is looking incredibly strong right here. And one reason I think Interactive Brokers is looking so strong is that you've got so much. I think the market's going to do so well over the next 5 to 6, 7 years. You're going to get more and more investors that are using that tool to trade different stocks domestically and internationally. And it just got added to the S&P 500. So every time somebody buys a share of the S&P 500, they're buying a little piece of Interactive Brokers. So great company. I think it's got a great story going forward the next 3, 4, 5 years for investors to add to a position here and do very, very well.
Yeah, being added to the S&P has been a tailwind for quite a few stocks that we've seen added in recent months. So You're so bullish. I got to ask you, your word of the day is flat. What's flat?
Well, you're looking at this. I think what it is just a little Spanish pause, as we say in Texas. When you hit these summer doldrums, people are just now going back to school, so you don't have as many people that are trading right now. I think over the next 2 or 3 weeks, you'll see this start to firm up. I think the market's building up steam to have a last quarter that's going to be incredibly strong. Our case, I told you that we thought the S&P would be around 6,500 at year end. We've actually raised that to 6,700 on the S&P. I think that we'll get a really strong fourth quarter going into the last part of the year. And I think there's so much cash on the sidelines. There's 7.4 trillion in money market right now, and it keeps going up day by day by day. And if the Fed ever drops rates, by half a point or a point, you'll see some of that money come flowing into equities, which is going to push it higher.